on my clothes, 4 gold chains on, I don't work for you. I got pollution in my food, revolution in my blues, executions on the news, I got work to do. I got a bag full of soul and I own that. A swag in my stroll, I can't hold back. This ain't Moses in the desert, this the chosen under pressure. This letters to my oppressor, I don't work for you. Paint chiseled in my teeth, I put a lead on each. Forefronts when I stun, I call it freedom of speech. I'm bigger than black, I'm opaque. Mosaics that I make stems from our roots and it's sparking. The liberation of the dark-colored artist, Hebrew art architect, the first man. Ferguson, St. Louis arcs all connect the puzzle pieces. When the codes crack, the struggle ceases. This is country soul, city folks ain't gotta sleep in. This is anti-colonialism passion. I'm over the system trapping. The homie is never passive. It's lonely in rebel fashion. Slowly I'm soaring past it. Won't hold me. When I think about land justice, I'm still waiting to see it.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
They gave us 2 weeks to move at 1942. My mother was pregnant with me, and some people got burned out. One of the cemeteries that was in the middle of the community was in the way of the airstrip, and was completely destroyed. Now it's been 80 years since we have lost our land. The question to me is, why? Why did you do this to us? We fought in every war, starting from the Revolutionaries' War, and we are still here. The blood, the sweat, the tears of this soil. This is our land. This is America. I am an American. Why have you not given us our land back?
You know, when you think about it, I don't know my history, my DNA. I don't know anything about where I'm really from. And to be honest, I couldn't even tell you who past my great grandmother, I wouldn't know anybody else in my family.
Do you know that they can actually find out through STEM where you come from?
I'm actually very interested in how they find DNA. You know, just off a little piece of saliva, you can find where you're from and like the whole your whole code. It's really cool, actually.
Here are your results.
This is just a unique way to pull them in, to keep their attention and expose them to a whole new world.
When I say that natural resources is nothing new to us, it's nothing new. We've been doing this for a very long time.
There's no people that have a greater connection to their natural environment than black people or people of color.
Carver was all about sustainability and self-reliance.
Wait, we're going to go save the polar bears, we're going to conserve these big swaths of property. Okay, but what about people?
Sometimes we subconsciously don't think about what does a tree mean to a certain individual that look like me that lived 50 years ago or that saw actual lynching going on.
If you are a part of the BIPOC community, seeing a person that looks just like you in a leadership position in a role and out here doing things that you think folks don't do.
He became somewhat controlling, telling me I couldn't go here or there.
People respond in kind of in spurts, like I only have this long to endure this pain, or when this happens, I'll get out of it.
When I got with her, that he was no longer able to do the physical damage.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we were surrounded. They put my son, who had never been in trouble a day in his life, in handcuffs. I was so worried.
66% of women who are held pretrial are mothers, of black women held are mothers. What does the system look like that really decides justice in the way that we envision it?
A 7-year-old boy arrested at school in Florida.
A 10-year-old boy with autism was handcuffed in his own school.
There should be no reason why you have 4 officers in a school for a 5 or 6-year-old that is having a temper tantrum.
Incarcerating children has become the new cash cow in this country.
The prison system is designed to keep people imprisoned, and because it's a business.
I got caught up with systematic oppression. I really didn't have a fair chance.
So when people say the system is broken, I said, no, it's not broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do.
This has been happening to children inside schools across the country.
You can't run away from social justice anymore. You can't sweep that under the rug anymore.
They don't teach you this in teacher school.
This is not difficult stuff to do. It's just that folks have to do it.
Beer is not just about brewing beer, pouring it in a glass and watching your brewery explode and getting the hype and getting the ratings. Beer to me is more about community. It's more about people helping people.
Beer is conversation, especially in this like hyper digitally connected world. You know, it's a time when we can all have like real connections with people, because how are we ever going to understand each other in this world, especially across races?
People were sad of what was going on in the world. They knew that it was time to speak up. It was time to change.
We were really seeing a need for just conversations about, you know, what it meant to be black in this country and what it meant to just like raise awareness about blackness.
They do recognize that there is that disparity and that there just should be equity within this industry as among other industries as well.
We reached that point where I felt like enough was enough, but what could I do in the space that I have? You know, I just make beer for a living, and I'm in a predominantly Caucasian industry. So what can I do?
For too long, black girls have been discriminated against and criminalized for the hair that grows on our heads and the way we move through and show up in this world.
It has taken years for me to be able to just walk out of my house like this. I was heard.
Twin sisters, Deanna and Maya, high school students, were disciplined for showing up with braids. They were given numerous detentions, kicked off the track team, banned from prom solely for their hairstyle.
It may not seem like a big deal to other people, but when you have 4C hair, that is a very big deal. Like,
I did not know if I would be able to still get different jobs or be able to be in corporate or professional settings with that type of hairstyle.
Crying because she felt like her hair just wasn't right.
These scholars and athletes were judged more for their heritage than their homework. No more.
They were like, well, you know, maybe I could just do what?
And to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'm just as beautiful with this hair as I was when I had a relaxer. Your hair is truly your crown, literally your crown.
Who said I can't do this? Who said I can't wear my hair like this? This is who I am.
Because you may have $1 million employee walk out the door because they have dreads.
Because you're beautiful. Look at yourself. It's time for you to be you.
It's not just a cute hairstyle. It's a lot of times it's more as a spiritual thing.
Or whenever someone tells you that you are not great because of what your hair looks like, remind them that God made you. And because He made you, everything about you is uniquely you. And keep smiling, keep moving forward, keep being great. Because what you are is everything you need to be.
Ratia Rogers was a force to be reckoned with.
I got expelled. I would go out and steal. She says her life spiraled after her parents' divorce. At the age of 13, she served time in juvenile detention.
I had an experience. One time I went to my prison jail cell and my back was up against the wall. You know, my homeboys wasn't there, my homegirls wasn't there, my mama, my family. Nobody was there. It was just me. My life flashed before my eyes. You know, me doing this, gangbanging, stealing, robbing, selling drugs. From then on, that's when my life totally changed.
I got to see firsthand the gangbanging. I got to see the wars. We just not thugs in the hood or something like that. We more than that. I get customers from all walks of life. I get white, black, Mexican, Indians. I get everybody.
Oklahoma's black culture is definitely rooted in cowboy culture.
As a cowboy, when you wake up every morning, you put your jeans on, and you put your boots on, and you put your cowboy hat on, you walk that walk, you talk that talk.
This is a lifestyle to us. We wake up and breathe, sleep, eat, and drink this. You know what I'm saying? This is just what we do. This is what we was born doing. This is what we was raised up on.
Most guys, you know, grew up, well, I'm gonna be the next Michael Jordan. I'm gonna be the next Emmitt Smith. I'm gonna be the next, you know, Kobe Bryant. Well, I looked at that stuff, but then when it came down to it, I know where my heart was deep down inside, and I wanted to be a rodeo athlete.
I have seen the skeleton material of individuals buried in a mass grave in Brooklyn. I had seen it.
The Public Oversight Committee was established to ensure transparency and community engagement throughout the 1921 Graves investigation.
From the very beginning, you never saw that real concerted effort.
Instead, what occurred was really a closing off of the process. We're doing this to move forward as a city.
What's most important, I think that's why we're here, is what evolved over that 2.5 years.
We found much more than I think we had even thought. And we began a process of exhuming these bodies.
If we're not taking every pain and step we need to ensure that we're doing it right, you're going to create more damage than if you just hadn't done anything at all.
Okay, who made that decision and when was it made?
The decision was made essentially by the teams that were on the ground.
But you just said she didn't know who made the decision, so that can't be the case.
This is the same ridiculous mess that we've been dealing with for 2 years.
Nobody is going to believe this story. Had it not been recorded, nobody would.
This conference will now be recorded.
In August 1964, 10 years after the Supreme Court's historic Brown versus Board of Education decision outlawing school segregation in the United States, the school system of Sand Springs, Oklahoma, a suburb of Tulsa, was still completely segregated. It was a decidedly separate and unequal school system. Booker T. Washington School, built in 1912, housed all grades from 1st to 12th. It offered only 35 credits for its high school students. In contrast, the ultra-modern Charles Page High School, built 5 years earlier, had 84 credits for its white students, more than twice as many course choice opportunities. Members of the civil rights organization CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality in Tulsa, began a campaign to desegregate the Sand Springs school system, beginning with Charles Page High School. Shortly after the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, 9 African American students attempted to enroll in the all-white Charles Page High School. The Sand Springs School Board denied their right to enroll.
I just looked at it as an honor and a privilege to be able to be the head coach at Booker T.
Pippen being guarded by Marley. Dumas with the steal. He had that one diagnosed. The Suns with an 11-4 advantage.
And Phoenix has more energy right now than Chicago does. You can see it. Chicago.
I'm going to Booker T because I know it's going to be a challenge academically. It's going to be a challenge athletically. And then I want to be a part of the tradition too.
There's there's a lot of poverty and a lot of broken families in my community from an early age. I just didn't have guidance on what it looked like to be a man.
These guys are very transient. They're in prison, or dead, or shot, killed, murdered, and they are drowning in a sea of hopelessness.
It's urgent to give people hope and truth now. I just try to help where I can.
I say, God, please demonstrate just for a moment a sense of I'm someone and I'm loved by a holy God, and that I don't have to die at 19.
Breaking news this morning ends with a suspect in custody.
It's vitally important for anyone to understand in regards to bringing hope into people's lives. No matter what they've been through, no matter what they've experienced, we have dignity and value and worth.
I'm O.W. Gurley. Back in 1905, I bought 40 acres in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I named the area Greenwood. Former slaves, former sharecroppers moved into my neighborhood and helped me build a thriving community of more than 11,000 people. We had everything. We had everything. We had a hospital. We had public schools. We had public transportation. We had all kinds of stores. We had all kinds of services, doctors and lawyers. We had homes. Many, many homes. We were doing just fine. We were doing just fine. All it took was a dream and a vision. But there's more to this story, a lot more to this story.
And what about the other Black Wall Streets?
What about Jackson Ward in Richmond, Virginia, the Harlem of the South, where Maggie Walker became the first African-American woman to charter a bank and the first African-American woman to serve as a bank president?
What about the Bronzeville section of Chicago, teeming with Black culture through Great Migration, home to poet Gwendolyn Brooks, first African-American to win the Pulitzer Prize?
What about Sweet Auburn in Atlanta, West 9th in Little Rock? What about Ferris Street in Jackson, the Black Mecca of Mississippi?